Hey everybody, in this tutorial what I'm going to do is show you how to use Spatial, which is an app and a platform that allows you to build projects and build worlds and then have a community join you in those spaces, much like Engage VR that we've been doing in class. And so you're going to go to spatial.io and we're going to actually grab some stuff from here and then bring it into Unity. So to get started, you're going to click here to log in, and then I'm just going to continue with Google, but you can continue with email, you can continue with other ways to sign in. I'm just going to go ahead and give it some permissions for my email, and once you get in there, it should let you kind of log right in. So before we get started with the world of Spatial here in the browser, I want you to go to spatial.io/toolkit. Okay, what that's going to do is it's going to give you the Unity template that you need. And so we've already created the Spatial account. This didn't take long at all. Install Unity, we've done that already. And it does require this version of Unity, which we can get to here in a second. Before we do that, we're going to click here to download the starter template. It's going to be a zip file that is hosted at spatial.io, and it will come in a zip file that we'll have to unzip and then open in Unity. It's a pretty big file. It'll take a little bit to download. You can see here it's just going to go and download into a zip file. I've already done this, and you can see that here in my downloads folder. And as soon as you're done, you'll see this Spatial Unity Starter main.zip. You've got to unzip it, and so you can uncompress it. If you have a Windows computer, you will have a different way to do this, but it's opening with the archive utility. If you just double click it, it will open it up into a folder that will basically be a Unity project. So then what I'm going to do is once it's downloaded and unzipped, I can go into my Unity Hub, and I can open that right here by clicking Add Project from Disk, and then I'm going to choose, and for my downloads folder, that folder, just the whole folder, and I'm going to press Add Project. Now, it will say you need a different version of Unity, okay? And so what you'll have to do is reinstall Unity using this method. In this case, it's 2021.3.2, and I do want the WebGL support, and I can open it with. If you don't have that version, it might take a minute to reinstall or choose the editor that it's asking for, that it was built in, and that might take a little bit, but make sure you add the WebGL support, and it'll take a bit for it to load. During the opening process, it may ask you to upgrade to the latest version, and yes, we want to do that. And it does say it wants to update to a new version of Unity Editor, which we do not want to do because this version of Spatial only works with this version of Unity. So I'm not going to download that. I'm going to skip the new version. Okay, once the scene is loaded here that you have gotten from Spatial, you'll notice that it's pretty empty. There's not much going on here, much like the project you started last week when you just got to know a little bit about Unity. But a couple things are a little different. One is that it imported a bunch of different packages, including some assets from Spatial, as well as some scenes and things like that. So if you do click over here on the left, you're going to see a bunch of different assets. You're going to see, if you go in here in the examples folder, they have a lot of different scenes that you could load. And if, like, for example, we went into the, let's go to Space Feature Demo, and then go into Scenes, and you double click on this Unity icon, it will take you into a scene pre-created by Spatial. And this is a way to interact with a lot of their assets and the different things that they have to offer here, including teleportation, making items grabbable. And you'll see here as you kind of scrub around and look around, you'll see different kind of points of interest and things like that. So you can kind of like look around at the world that they have created. You can even press play and see how it animates and things like that. But we're actually going to create our own scene, and you're going to create your own room, and you're going to create your own entrance point and things like that. So instead of going into one of their demo scenes, we're going to actually create our own scene. And up here in the toolkit, you're going to see some extra little buttons and features. So right now we're on the test package of this space scene feature demo. What I want you to do is click on Portal. Portal is going to allow you to connect your spatial account with this install of Unity in this scene that we have. So I want you to click on Account, and you can see I'm already logged in, but what you're going to need to do to get logged in is make sure you're logged into Spatial on a browser. You're going to click here to Get Login Token, and it's going to open up a new browser window, and from that browser window it's going to give you a special key. All you have to do is press Copy to Clipboard, and then go back into Unity, go back into that portal here, and go back to the account, and we got our login token, and then we just got to paste that login token right there. And all that's going to do is going to connect our account with this install of Unity. The next thing we need to do is go here to the config panel, and we're actually going to create a new world. And so over here where it says create a new world, we're just going to press create new world here. And there's different types of worlds that you can create. You can make a space or an avatar, things like that. We're going to make sure that we're creating a space. And we're just going to leave this active package. That's one that's active right now. It doesn't really matter, but we're actually going to create a new world, and I'm going to press create new world. Also, the reason I had a problem with that is because we do need to create a new scene as well. So we've got to actually go to create a new space here. I'll press create new. And when it creates that new scene, we have to go in here and give it a special name. So I'm just going to call this John Scene Spatial. And this is the name of the scene. I'm sorry, this is the name of the package. So I'm uniquely making this a special package. Along with that, I do need to make a new scene. I'm going to press Create New Scene. And I can call this scene whatever I want to. I'll just call it John's. I don't know if it does capital letters or apostrophes or not, but I'm going to call it John's World. And now you can see in the background it did create a whole new scene. It's got a whole skybox. It basically cleared it out. And so I can kind of start creating that now. Now I can go into this new world that I just made, and I can start adding those items just like I did when we created our scene last time. So you'll see we already got a directional light, ground plane it created for us. Entrance point, that means where you're going to spawn from, your camera. So it gave you some basics here. But from here, like for example, let's create a plane. I'll go to Game Object, 3D Object, Plane. I can make a new floor, just like I did in the last tutorial. I can call it Floor. Then what I can do is make I'll do another effect. A 3D object. I'll make a cube, and I'll add that to the scene. And I can move this up and down and all around. Not messing with any of the spatial projects and spatial layers here. I can then go ahead and test this scene and see what it looks like, what it might look like in a headset or when you turn on spatial. So I'm going to press the play button, so it's going to render this test scene, and not only is it going to kind of crunch everything and import what it needs to, it's actually going to open a browser window that you can then use your directional pad, you can use your space bar, and kind of walk around as if you had the headset on. Now we haven't published this to our actual spatial account yet, but we will here in a minute, and you're going to see kind of the process of testing it out in the 3D environment, and then what it might look like when you actually put the headset on. Okay, and now that my scene is loaded here in the browser, I can then use, as you can see, WASD to move around. I can use my spacebar to jump, and kind of you can see it worked. So that's my little avatar guy, and here I am in my world. So to get back into the world, that's the way how you kind of test and make sure that everything is working properly. And from there, really, you are going to be just kind of working within your scene to start building your world out. I mentioned in other tutorials how to go into the asset store and how to import other items. And so you can import furniture, you can import walls, you can import basically anything to your world that you want to, and start kind of putting things around wherever you want to, and then pressing this test button, and it will test it in the browser. So this week I want you to just kind of start experimenting, not just with Unity, but with connecting Spatial and testing your scene in Spatial and walking around. In the next tutorial, I'm going to show you how to actually publish it and put it in a headset.